Christmas. Today I want to introduce you to Miss Blackman. She is a student teacher and she will be working with us in Rainbows for the next term. So today we're going to be reading this story. It's called Boris the Robot and it's by Mike Peacock and Dave Hill. At the top of the town, in the house on the hill, with a neat little garden and a pretty little gate, lives Boris the Robot. He spends his time in the garden shed, where it's lovely and cosy, and there's even a bed, making gadgets and tinkering away. And most of the time, Boris is glad that this is a tale of a time he was sad. For at the bottom of the town, at the dark end of the street, lies a scrapyard, full of rotten old rubbish and worn-out junk, and thrown away things that nobody wants, like washed-up washing machines and conked-out cars, rusty screws and empty jars.
It is owned by the Scrap Man, a raggedy old grump with an unkind face who loves things that are rotten, that are going to waste. Things that are broken, things that are thrown away, and stink and smell of old decay. He gathers them up all day long and sings, as he does, his Scrap Man song. Junk is junk, it's plain to see, scrap is scrap and always will be. What's rubbish is worthless, you cannot pretend. It's a life on the scrap pile for you, my old friend. It was here that Boris was born. He was put together from old gears and cogs and other unwanted bits and bobs by two young children called Amber and Josh, and their dad, who helped them quite a lot. And when he was done, they named him Boris and gave him a heart, but the Scrap Man sniggered and stood apart. He spoke of Boris in words unkind, told Amber and Josh they were wasting their time, but the children loved Boris, so ignored his advice. Then Dad went to the Scrap Man and paid a price, and they brought him home to
the house on the hill with a neat little garden and a pretty little gate, and a bright red door and the number 8. And they said to Boris, "If you allow us to love you, we'd like you to stay, and be our friend and together we'll play." Boris' heart glowed. He felt warm and special and snuggly inside, but a part of him thought, "Can this be right? If it is not, perhaps some sort of mistake. I've made of all junk, for goodness sake. I'm oily, I'm creaky, I clank when I move. How can they see me and not disapprove?" Now, day by day, with the family away, Dad at work, the children at school, Boris was by himself as a rule, so he spent his time in the garden shed, where it's lovely and cosy, there's even a bed, making gadgets and tinkering away till the children came home, when they'd rushed out and played. They'd go to the park and they'd play on the swings, they'd tell jokes on benches and eat picnic things. For Boris, it was the best time that he'd ever had, so why did he sometimes still feel so sad?
At night, he'd hear the Scrap Man song and wonder if perhaps the children were wrong. Is it true, thought Boris? Can they really love me? I'm not cool, I don't do sports, I don't know any jokes, I'm just a muddle of sprockets and spokes. But what if one day the children get bored, or a new robot comes with gizmos galore, and they don't want to play with me anymore? They'll throw me away, I must find a way, prove what I'm worth, and make sure I can stay. Then came the day for Amber to celebrate her 8th birthday. Now's my chance, thought Boris. I know what I'll do. I'll make them a cake, the best one ever. That will show them how clever and useful and helpful I can be. They'll never, ever want to get rid of me. He whizzed and he whirred, he mixed and he stirred, determined to make the best cake ever. But it didn't quite go to plan. However,
Oops, egg smashed on the floor. Whoops, mixture went over the walls and the door and the ceiling and Boris. Then splash, the milk went spilling all over the ground. Boris slipped and crash. The bowl with the mixture went tumbling down, and finally into the oven Boris put the cake, and when he looked at the kitchen, oh dear, what a state. In a panic he tried to tidy up, brushing and sweeping and washing up, but he got so busy he forgot to make a note of how long it would take for the cake to bake. Suddenly, beep, beep, beep went the smoke alarm. Boris gave a shout, ran to the oven and poured the poor cake out. Quickly Boris tried to cool it down, grabbed a hosepipe from the garden and squirted it around. Whoosh, there was water, water everywhere, on the walls and up the stairs. Uh-oh. Oh no, thought Boris, I've ruined the day, I've ruined the house. Oh, what will they say? And at that moment he heard the Scrap Man coming along, singing to himself the Scrap Man song. Junk is junk, it's plain to see. Scrap is scrap and always will be. Oh dear, what's going on here? A nice lovely house and a nice special day, all ruined and wrecked and completely disarray. My friends, said Boris, will be furious, said the Scrap Man, when they see what you've done. If I were you, I'd go on the run. Leave now, they won't want you here. They'd much rather you and your mess disappear. Better be quick, now hurry along, back to the scrapyard where you belong. Oh no.
So Boris walked slowly back through the town, with his shoulders hunched, his eyes looking down. Past the park where he'd played on the swings, past the bench where they'd joked and shared picnic things. Boris plodded on and on, to the scrapyard at the dark end of town, with its rotten old rubbish and worn out junk, all the thrown away things that no one wants. Meanwhile, the children come home and straight away saw that Boris had gone. Where is he? They said. What's happened? They cried, and started to search for their friend far and wide. Up and down, all over the town, they searched all the places where he might be found. They went to the park, where they'd played on the swings. They went to the bench, where they'd shared picnic things. Both of the children said with a tear, "We don't care about mess. We want Boris back here."
Boris arrived at the scrapyard gates and looked inside at the shadows and shapes of rusting old wrecks and burnt-out hulks, great mounds of refuse all piled up in bulk, machines for sorting with teeth and claws. They scurried around with clanks and roars. "Welcome," said the scrap man, singing his song. "Welcome to the place where you truly belong." Boris stepped forward to go through the door, but just as he did, he heard a voice call, "Wait!" Boris stopped. He turned surprised as Amber and Josh and Dad arrived. "Come back," they said. "We want you to stay. Would be ever so sad if you went away." "But I'm rubbish," said Boris. "I'm not any use. I'm just a pile of sprockets and screws. I'm oily, I'm clanky, I get things wrong. You'd much better off having me gone." "That's right," said the scrap man. "Now come this way and hurry up. I don't have all day." "But Boris, we love you. We built you, you know. We really, really don't want you to go. We love you for you, not the things that you do. We love you for just being you." Boris looked at the scrap man, who was really quite cross. He looked back at Dad and Amber and Josh. He thought, what should I do? They're saying different things, but only one of them's true. Then he looked at the children. Their love filled his heart, and he knew he belonged with them right from the start. This is Boris's heart.
At the top of the town, in the house on the hill, with the neat little garden and a pretty little gate, and the bright red door, and the number 8, and the flowers in the box on the windowsill, lives Boris the Robot. And he spends his time in the garden shed, where it's lovely and cosy, there's even a bed, making gadgets and tinkering away. Now Boris, he doesn't always get things right, but somehow, and sometimes, He hears the Scrapman's song in the night, but now he knows that he is loved. So he closes the curtains and closes the door and decides not to listen to that voice anymore.
So, I hope you enjoyed Boris the Robot's story, and we will both see you soon.